Hello and welcome to PC Builders Incorporated. Up for review today is the ASUS ROG Strix GeForce RTX 2070 Gaming OC 8GB graphics card. As you can tell from the inclusion of the quote-unquote OC within the naming that this card is overclocked right from the factory. We'll start off by having a look at the specifications of this card. Well, the ASUS website just doesn't have enough information on this card as far as specifications are concerned. I'll have to head over to techpowerup.com as it's much more informative and reliable. As you can see, this GPU is based on NVIDIA's Turing architecture, and the GPU variant for the Strix RTX 2070 OC is TU106-400A-A1. This card is manufactured using the 12nm process. There is a die shot of the GPU on the screen right now. The base clock for this card is the same as the reference cards at 1410 MHz, while the boost clock sees an increase of 12% or more depending on the mode you are running the card at, ranging from 1815 MHz to 1845 MHz for the default gaming mode and OC mode respectively. The card comes equipped with 8 GB of GDDR6 VRAM manufactured by Micron. The video memory operates at 1750 MHz, which is 14,000 MHz effective. The card has 2304 CUDA cores, 144 texture mapping units, 64 render output units, 36 streaming multiprocessors, 288 tensor cores, and 36 ray tracing cores. The official TDP of the graphics card is a mere 175 watts, though it's likely to be within the range of 225 watts, I believe. The minimum requirement for powering this card is a 550 watt power supply unit. For an overview of all the specs, we have a GPU-Z screen capture that should be on the screen right about now. That's all the technical specification jargon for now. Let's inspect the card visually. The ROG Strix RTX 2070 OC graphics card is a part of ASUS's premium lineup of gaming products, and it has the traditional ASUS Strix look going for it, consisting a blend of what appears to be mostly black and white. The card visually may look the same as the Strix cards from the last generation, but do not let that deceive you, as the existing features that made Strix cards so famous were improved upon with the addition of some brand new features. The first thing that's obvious is that this card features a triple fan cooling solution and employs ASUS's patented wing blade fans, which ASUS claims to have a whopping 105% higher static pressure when pushing the air onto the heatsink compared to the traditional axial fans, and comes with IP5X rating, which is something really handy to have, as it ensures that dust buildup and debris does not clog up the internals of the fan over time and allows it to operate smoothly. Then there's the 0dB technology, which keeps the fans to a halt until the GPU core temperature reaches the threshold of 55 degrees Celsius. This feature not only ensures a more quieter operating environment, but also can help increase the lifetime of the fans. One thing I would like to mention is that 0dB technology only works under the quiet mode video BIOS. The heatsink surface, especially the part that's used to dissipate the heat generated by the GPU core, has what ASUS claims to be max contact technology, which supposedly allows twice as much contact with the GPU die compared to conventional GPU heatsinks, thanks to the usage of precision machining, leading to overall better heat dissipation and an overall lower operating temperature. This card is officially referred to as a dual slot card, but in reality it's a triple slot card. So for installing this card, you'll be needing an additional spacing of 2 more slots beneath the PCI Express X16 slot of your choosing. The card's dimensions are 30.5 cm, 13.06 cm, 4.819 cm respectively for length, width, and height. It would be wise to make sure that your chassis has the necessary space to accommodate the card should you choose to purchase it. To power this graphics card, you'll be needing a 6-pin and an 8-pin PCI Express power connector. On one side of the shroud of the cooling is where you'll find 2 4-pin fan headers, in which you can hook up any additional DC or PW fans you may have within your chassis that can be controlled for better overall thermals, as it will ramp the fans up or down depending on your CPU and GPU temperatures. ASUS calls this feature the ASUS Fan Connect 2. Now, if we pay attention near the I/O bracket of the card, the first thing we'll notice is that this card lacks the SLI fingers. NVIDIA decided to make SLI available only for the RTX 2080 and the RTX 2080 Ti cards. I don't seem to think this as much of an issue. Moreover, you can see a flip switch that you can use to choose between two different video BIOSes, quiet and performance mode to be specific. What quiet mode does is that it operates the fan with maximum quietness in mind, which will yield slightly higher temperatures but much more quieter operation overall. And given how Nvidia's GPU boost works, you will have slightly lower boost clocks as a result. However, the performance delta between the quiet mode and the default performance mode is so negligible. For people who prefer a more quiet computing experience will likely want to use the quiet mode. On the back of the card, we can see that it has a really high quality backplate to it with an embellishment of the ROG Strix writing and the ASUS ROG logo, which has controllable RGB lighting by the way. The entire backplate has this black metallic matte finish to it, which is quite nice. For output, the card features two native HDMI 2.0B ports, two native DisplayPort 1.4 ports, and a USB Type-C connector for those of you who are willing to hook it up to a VR headset. The card has a maximum resolution of 760/80 x 4320 pixels and supports up to 4 displays at the same time. And it has support for G-Sync and HDR displays like the rest of Nvidia's more recent graphics cards. We officially did not have the permission to perform a teardown of our review unit, so once again we have to head over to techpowerup.com for some insights into what's inside of this card. As you can see on the screen by now, what the front and the back of the bare PCB looks like. On this custom PCB designed by ASUS, Micron's GDDR6 memory chips were used, which operates at a clock speed of 1750 MHz as mentioned earlier. For supplying voltage to the GPU core, ASUS has employed the use of MP2888A controller from Monolithic Power Systems in conjunction with what appears to be an 8-phase power delivery system. Just for demonstration, I have pointed out the 8 different phases using white rectangles in the image displayed on the screen right now. For controlling the power delivery to this GPU's memory, the UP9512Q controller is used coupled with a 2-phase power delivery, which I have pointed out in the picture yet again for the convenience of our viewers. Anyone who has used high-end graphics cards should be familiar with GPU sagging by now. Well, you can say goodbye to any concerns you may have with this GPU sagging because of ASUS's decision to include the use of a metallic brace inside the card which acts as a reinforced frame, which ASUS's engineers claim to have boosted the GPU structural integrity by 3 folds, preventing it from excessive torsion and lateral bending of the PCB. And then we come to a less familiar aspect of ASUS's graphics card manufacturing process, the Auto Extreme technology. ASUS claims that due to the use of automated manufacturing, they can minimize mistakes, removing the human error from the equation, allowing for better quality control, and having all the soldering done in a single pass helps with achieving better stability while overclocking. And this whole manufacturing process being flux-free makes it all the more environment friendly. Now let's take a look at the hands-on installation of the graphics card. It's a very straightforward affair for anyone building a PC really. You plug the card into a vacant PCI Express X16 slot, screw the card onto the chassis, and plug the 6-pin and 8-pin PCIe power connector one at a time, and you're done. As for installing graphics card drivers properly, it is something we wish to delve into in a future content piece. The moment we power on the system, we can see the ASUS ROG Strix RTX 2080 OC graphics card in its full glory, with its RGB LEDs lit up. Speaking of RGB LEDs, let's discuss a bit on what this card has to offer in terms of RGB. Near the rear I/O ports, right besides the BIOS flip switch, is a button labeled LED on-off, which serves the sole purpose of turning all the RGB LEDs on or off altogether. Now, whether you fancy RGB LED lighting or not is strictly a matter of personal taste and preference, but in my humble opinion, that the inclusion of this feature is something many will welcome with open arms. Here is a hands-on demonstration of the feature in action. ASUS has dubbed the whole thing as stealth mode, where you are like a ninja, though I don't recall seeing any ninjas in ancient Japan glowing like LEDs do. Now let's move on to the software support of this card. First and foremost, in the software department, besides Nvidia's excellent driver support, is ASUS's Aura Sync that you can use to control the RGB LEDs which are on this card. You can choose from 6 predefined presets for lighting, and of course any color combination you want from an infinite pool of colors. The 6 presets that are available are static, breathing, strobing, color cycle, music effect, and GPU temperature. Now that we're done with Aura Sync and the RGB lighting, let's move on over to ASUS's GPU Tweak 2. The ASUS GPU Tweak 2 is a utility for monitoring the card's behavior, as in core clock, memory frequency, voltage settings, as well as adjusting them in real time, along with fan speeds for fine tuning. Well, I personally prefer the MSI Afterburner over this, though some may take a liking to this particular software or find it useful. With the purchase of each ROG Strix RTX 2070 OC, you get a free license for the premium game streaming and capture software XSpeed Gamecaster. Another bundle software which some of you competitive gamers may find useful is the WT Fast, which is kind of like a VPN app that will ensure you have reduced ping to game servers. With the purchase of this particular graphics card, you get a 6-month premium license for WT Fast for free. Then we come down to the final and strangest entry in the software bundle, the inclusion of Quantum Cloud. What this software does is that it uses your GPU to work for cloud-based applications, allowing you to earn money. I'm very skeptical of this and would not touch it with a 10-foot pole. Right, that's all there is to it about bundle software. Let's move on to the meat of our review, the benchmarks. First, let's get acquainted with our test rig. On to the benchmarks then. that was a fairly long benchmark session. Time to look at the temperature and fan noise. For gathering the temperature data, we decided to leave our card under a 3D Mark Timespy stress test for a period of 15 minutes and then take our temperature reading. Hardware monitor reported a 29 degrees Celsius idle temperature, with the maximum temperature being only 62 degrees Celsius. It is winter, and during the summer these figures will obviously change, but I have to say these are excellent figures, especially when you take the fan noise into consideration. Most of the time the GPU temperature was hovering about 59 to 60 degrees, and this whole system was housed inside the Fantex N2 Pro M JC, which did not allow me to hear the fans of the graphics card at all. Now then, let's take a look at the boost clock behavior. The card's core clock bounced from 1980 MHz to 1945 MHz, reducing itself further to 1915 MHz in some instances, but most of the time it was at 1945 MHz-ish. We have nearly reached the end of our review. Time for a verdict. Feature-wise, the ASUS ROG Strix GeForce RTX 2070 Gaming OC 8GB graphics card is an excellent product. The card runs whisper quiet, has excellent thermals, comes with additional features like the Fan Connect 2 and with a promising software bundle. Now we come to one of the deciding factors of a purchase, the price. Despite this card having a suggested retail price of $630 US, depending on the part of the world you are living in, things can drastically differ. Here in Bangladesh, the card retails for almost $875 US, and in places like Brazil, it's probably a lot more expensive. If you can make do with a bit of higher thermals and fan noise, then by all means grab the most affordable RTX 2070 card that you can get your hands on. Apart from the price and availability, the ASUS ROG Strix GeForce RTX 2070 Gaming OC 8GB graphics card is nearly a flawless product. If you need the absolute best RTX 2070 graphics card, then this card can be a good consideration, especially if you are willing to pay the premium for the premium features it boasts. And with that, we conclude our review of the ASUS ROG Strix GeForce 2070 Gaming OC 8GB graphics card. If you found this information in this content piece useful, go ahead and hit that like button, get subscribed, share this video with your tech enthusiast friends, and make sure to let us know of your thoughts in the comment section below. See you next time!